You lived in Cherkasy? Yes. So, in Cherkasy. And why did you go to prison? I'm a member of the political party Sharia's party, deputy head of the cell of this party in our city. You don't go to jail for that. I was in prison for that very reason. I kept accounts and correspondence with the Moscow and Spanish headquarters of our party. That's a little different. I also organized rallies. Wait, the party has a Moscow headquarters? Of course. How can a Ukrainian party have a Moscow headquarters? Why not? At the moment when the Sharia party was banned in Ukraine, many of us were immediately arrested. I was also arrested at the moment. We're at war with Russia, and here's a supposedly Ukrainian party, and it has its headquarters in Moscow. Don't you think that's a little strange at least? No. Or do you think we're not at war with Russia? No. I agree that there's a war going on. So, you think this is normal? We're at war with Russia, and at the same time, the alleged Ukrainian party has its headquarters in an enemy state, in Moscow? Yes. Yes, we have democracy and freedom of speech. I'm asking you from a moral point of view. We are against the war, and the last rallies were precisely against this madness. Tell me more about this Moscow headquarters. I won't be able to tell you much because I've never been there. I've just seen various reports and papers there. What were the reports about? Well, information about party members, rallies, and about our party activities, what we have done, what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and so on. So where was the party managed from, anyway? Anatoly Shari himself, the party's founder. Okay, I get it. Well, what does Moscow have to do with it? After all, Anatoly Shari has fled abroad and now is in Barcelona. Well, the technical part came from Moscow, all sorts of manuals. And the manuals, what are they? Well, our position on various issues, accompanied along with various sorts of samples, brand books, everything you need for your work. So, samples, brand books, and manuals came to you from Moscow? Mostly, yes. I did the technical part. I have a good understanding of accounting and business management and document management. I'm good at it. And what was your position exactly? I'm the deputy head in the city of Cherkasy. Deputy head of the party cell in Cherkasy, right? Yes. And did you run for any elected position in Cherkasy? No, I mean, we had a very small party, not much of an electorate. Why is that? I remember that your party participated in the elections. Yes, but it was in Cherkasy that the party cell had only just started. Only people started to join the party. We were not even fully operational yet. We were just preparing to become a full-fledged cell of the party officially. In fact, it was a meeting of like-minded people. And tell me, please, I wonder, like-minded in what convictions? What united you? Fighting corruptions, building an honest country where everyone can do what they like. For example, I like to travel far around the country. I like trucks, I like to drive cars, but we have a lot of corruption in these areas. I like trucks, I like to drive cars, but we have a lot of corruption in these areas. Yeah, we have a lot of problems in this country. And tell me, no, at first I got to a certain level, started my own firm. At first it's exciting. Go negotiate with the IRS, bribe here, bribe there. Then it becomes a chore and then it starts to piss you off. This endless reporting, these schemes that you can't just go to work. You have to twist and turn. You have to go through some schemes. You have to evade this and that. Or maybe that's what you have to pervert because you initially started from the beginning and give and take. No. Why can't a car in Ukraine leave without overloading, huh? Answer me this question. Well, I'm no expert on the subject. Well, I understand a little bit. Without the overload, you just won't get away. That's all. Well, that's the way the market's built. I told you, we have a lot of problems. Yes, we have a lot of problems. And tell me, please, how do you feel about the annexation of Crimea? Positive. Are you in favor? Yes. And on this issue, did you have like-minded people in the party? Of course. And did you communicate your general position to the party leadership? No, well, we ourselves, we have a position. Party activity is party activity. My personal opinion, that's my personal opinion. And And the party, a party position on the annexation of Crimea. It wasn't specifically addressed, yes, so it's not for me. It's directly to Anatoly. So you support the fact that Russia annexed Crimea? Of course I do. Why? Because it's always been her territory. I was born in the USSR. I'm 44-year-old, so what do you mean it's her territory? The Russian Federation? Yes. Do you know that it didn't exist before 91? Well, it's still the territory of Russia, of the Russian Empire and so on. It's still their land. They would have taken it sooner or later anyway, so it's too late for that. So what? And you saw the map in 91 after? It was Ukrainian territory. It was Ukrainian territory. It was, but it's gone. No, it's not gone yet. It has. It's that what you think or what you would like for it to be. It's done, yes. There was a thing like that with Kherson the other day. Well, basically, it will be the Southwestern Federal District, and that's it. Yes, there will never be any Ukraine anymore. Unfortunately, by the way, this is... what border will this district go to? According to the current borders of Ukraine, Southwestern Federal District. What are the current borders of Ukraine? Well, the current western border would be, yes, of 91. Let's come on. Well, there's the 91 border. Yes. Well, there's it's just that it will be the Southwestern Federal District. There will be no Ukraine, and that's it. Exactly is it going to be? Which one? And why the Southwestern Federal District? Well, because it's not to me. Is this part of Russia? Yes. And all of Ukraine will be part of Russia? Yeah, just part of Russia. And how will they do it? They will. They're already doing it. Mariupol was shown as an example. Well, they destroyed Mariupol. Well, that's right. Do you support it too? No, it's unfortunate. It's really sad that this is how the situation has become. Wait, the thing is, it all started with Crimea. Yeah, what does Crimea have to do with it? Crimea, it was clear from the beginning what it was. Russia will take it sooner or later. What does one have to do with the other? So you think it's clear that Russia will take all of Ukraine? You just... No, before the war started, well, until 2024, there was still a chance to agree and be like Belarus. Agree on what? Like Belarus to become like Belarus, that is informally become a satellite of Russia? Yes, that would be fine. Is that okay with you? I was born in the USSR. I remember very well. We lived quietly well in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. So that's your position. Yes, I'm in favor of USSR 2.0. Are you in favor of USSR 2.0? Yes, it's clear. What is the nature of your crime for which... Well, that's what it is. As a member of the opposition, we've been cursing the president too much. You see what this is about. Look, it's okay to berate the president. The question is, aren't you supporting the other side? The opposing party became the opposing party after 2024. Before that, the party... Look, I just don't want to get emotional right now, because when a person has an alternate world, right, he can live in it, yeah, but the other people don't see that alternate world, right? They see it realistically. So here is Ukraine, here is its territory, here is Crimea and its territory, right? And accordingly, if you and I keep moving into this history, you will always tell me about Soviet 2.0 and that you didn't notice how the Soviet Union collapsed. It's not very constructive. Not very constructive. Yeah, well, the facts are exactly as they are. Yeah, what are the facts? Well, Russia will take whatever it wants and that's it. And Russia will take it. Why hasn't it taken it yet? The process is underway. So why didn't it work out with Kherson? I don't know where I'm from. I wasn't there. And how do you think the process slowed down, sped up? Was there a problem? But they recognized Kherson as theirs. Allegedly, they even... Well, of course, sooner or later, yeah, that's the way it is. I'm not in the military, so I can't say anything. Right. And if they don't, they will. So you're absolutely sure? Yes. Do you have your sentence in hand? No. Where is it? Where is it? In a file somewhere. Do you mind if we read it? Go ahead. I'll do it. Well, it doesn't say a word of the truth. I understand, but listening to you, I'm starting to doubt that I can hear any real information from you. No, I'm not denying that I've done opposition work. I'm not denying anything. No, you're not denying that you were engaged in opposition activities. You're moving on to opposition activities. And I know that people don't go to jail for that. They don't put people in jail for opposition activities. You filmed the rally, didn't you? Transmitted the video of all these FBI prosecutor's office. Shooting video is, well, that's how it's done. I mean, that's all. Nah, yeah. Nah, there's something else. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I filmed the SBU, the FBI building, the prosecutor's office, and the police. What year was that? 2022. What date? What month? 6th month. So after the full-scale invasion, you removed the prosecutor office building and sent it to Moscow? Yes. Oh, that's a different story. Yes, but we held a rally in front of the prosecutor's office. Well, hold rallies? Why'd you send the video of the FBI building to the aggressor's country? This video is a report on the event. Yes, sent to the aggressor's country, which attacked your country. I understand that your country is not your country because you do not recognize it as such. Well, naturally. Well, so it's just so I don't have to talk long. Yes, my country is the USSR. Well, are you in the party like that? No. The party, by the way, united very different people. I do not recognize the independence of Ukraine. Well, you can't simultaneously recognize the independence of Ukraine and not understand that the Soviet Union collapsed. No, Ukraine could have been independent if it weren't for this maniacal craving for... Could have been... It could have been, or it was, and it is. She was until 2014, more or less independent, yes. Then it fell under the influence of American comrades and became a colony of America. And how did it fall under the influence? Maidan. I know Maidan. And then? Well, and then we joined NATO. Yes, a state right on the border with Russia will join NATO, a zone, let's say, of Russian interests, one of the important ones for Russia and Ukraine. Russia will let it go to NATO? I doubt that. If it were not for that, Ukraine would continue to be, well, independent enough. Why were the Baltic states on the border with Russia able to join NATO? Why? The Baltic states will be later... No, you explained to me logically why the Baltic states on the border with Russia can be let into NATO. Finland, Sweden can be let into NATO, but Ukraine can't. Why exactly in the case of Ukraine is just like that for you? You're smiling. It's not for me. Who is it for? It's such an objective reality for Russia. Well, read Solovyov Live. It's all there. No, Solovyov Live, I'm not talking to Solovyov. When I talk to Solovyov, I'll ask him this question. Well, there's the rationale on Solovyov Live, yes. No, I'd like to hear the rationale from you. You believe it. Yes, because it's an area of Russian interest, that's all. Ukraine will either be with Russia or part of Russia or not at all. It'll be a radioactive swamp. So what's happening now is not the worst case scenario. What's the worst? What's the worst? A radioactive swamp. How will it be achieved? Topol M, Topol RT. A strike on Lviv and somewhere near Cherkasy, by the way, and that's it. Ukraine turns into a radioactive swamp, 10-20 X-ray per hour. If Russia launches this Topol M, your family will die. Your family will die, unfortunately. How will you react to that? Well, it's extremely unfortunate, yes, but there's nothing I can do about it. Well, will you still want to go to Russia for the exchange? Of course I will. Your family will die in a Russian strike. Well, after the strike, the situation will be different. There'll be nothing there, no exchange, nothing, and no one. Hypothetically, I asked hypothetically. Well, even hypothetically, well, that's very unfortunate. We protested until the last, I held my last rally against the war. So, that's very interesting. How exactly was your rally supposed to? What was the big deal about this rally? Stop the madness. Yeah, what was it about this rally that was supposed to stop the madness? The technology to stop the madness? Well, Ukraine needs to start negotiating with Russia right away. That's it. Stop what they're doing and start negotiating. Zelensky contacted the Kremlin several times after the full-scale invasion and offered to negotiate on... Well, he did a lousy job because nothing was actually done. What was he supposed to do? I don't know what he was supposed to do. So you guys held rallies. We held rallies against the war. Yes, urgently start negotiations. Negotiations never started. Look, I'm looking at you now. Seriously, I'm like, that's no way to start negotiations. Negotiations were going on. What negotiations were going on? Name one. The Minsk negotiations were going on. Ukraine refused to fulfill the terms of the Minsk agreement. Which ones did it refuse to fulfill? Steiner's formula. What does the Steinmeier's formula look like? What does the Steinmeier's formula look like? What is it? First, the troops were withdrawn, then the elections, then yes. So we have to hold elections in our country with Russian machine guns? Yes. There's no other alternative, and the other alternative is war. Okay, wait, 1 second. The alternative to not honoring the Minsk Agreement is hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian casualties. So the Minsk Agreement stipulate that election must be held under Ukrainian law. Well, and why wasn't anything done? Because Russia didn't want to withdraw. Yeah. How can an election be held under Ukrainian law if Russia hasn't withdrawn its troops? Ukraine has withdrawn its troops, right? Can I put the camera where I can see your facial expressions move forward a little bit? That's okay. I don't need to be here, but I'd like to be here anyway. Well, if I'd like to show a person's facial expressions. Yeah, but you guarantee it'll only be on the internet? Oh, sure. Okay, that's it. That's the deal. Yeah. Okay, you're the most interesting question I've heard is the technology you proposed at the rallies, which should be implemented so that there would be no war. What is it? Immediately stop hostilities and start negotiations. That's how the Normandy format negotiations went on. Well, what was the result? Negotiations went on. What was the result? Look, in order to stop the war, to prevent the war, are you proposing negotiations? Is that right? Yes. And the negotiations are going on, you know? Well, constructive negotiations. It was a mess. So you're offering constructive negotiations? Yes. What kind of negotiations? What Ukraine should have done from the party's point of view. I'm telling about the party now. Well, what does this have to do with? Well, you held party rallies, didn't you? Yes. Well, from the party's point of view, to start negotiations on an immediate ceasefire and they were being conducted? Well, why didn't they end up with anything? Probably because the Russian side didn't want to make... or the Ukrainian side didn't want to make a normal decision, but you must have figured it out, right? No. So what was your suggestion? To urgently stop the fighting, withdraw the army, and start negotiations. You were suggesting we withdraw unilaterally? Yes. So at the party level, your party opinion was that Ukraine should unilaterally cease fire. Yes. Yes. Was that really a party position? Well, do you still have any questions about why this party was banned in Ukraine if you're talking about, well, do you have any questions? Of course there are. Well, are we a democracy or what? That's what we're suggesting. Well, look, if it's a democracy, it doesn't mean that a country should encourage when it's attacked and shelled, when another country forces invasion in its territory. We don't encourage it. We're the opposite. How is it not encouraging if you're saying now that we unilaterally had to stop? Well, there's no other option. There are no other options. We have to proceed from objective reality. Otherwise, the alternative is Mariupol. And that's it. Well, that's all. That's all. Well, it hasn't been done. It wasn't done. We got Mariupol and hundreds of thousands of casualties. Well, let them go on and like that. Kill everyone. Destroy everything. That's it. No, I understand that you still think Ukraine should have just given up its territories. Yeah, sure. Do you think that? Yes, to save their people. Now, I'm asking you about, was it party politics as well? Well, yes. For friendship with Russia. Stop all this madness and start a normal dialogue. So you actually had this concept discussed in your party cell? Yes. Yeah, no normal person would ask why this party was banned. Especially since it also has an office in Moscow. I didn't know that, honestly. I thought it was all hidden somehow. Turns out it's not. There are two offices, one in Madrid and one in Moscow. It's always been like that. Well, what's the problem? Well, it's obviously not a problem for you. Well, yes. But for a normal Ukrainian, there is a problem. Well, what do you think of it? Well, and the result of the problems of a normal Ukrainian, well, the result? Which Ukrainian exactly you're talking about? Me? In general, you? Which one are you talking about? Clearly, we can't mention you in any way here. It's different for everyone. Well, the result of the result is that there's a war going on. Well, that's right. And every day, 6 to 7,000 soldiers of Ukrainian armed force die. There's a war. Once again, there's a war. Well, as a result of war, someone is always killed. Well, they'll kill everyone, and that's the end of it. Well, you think they'll kill everyone? Well, it's a process. Well, you're the only one that thinks they're going to kill everyone. Well, they will, and I think Ukraine will win. Oh, yeah. Reclaim its territory. Yes. That's funny. Well, it might be funny to you. Yeah, well, it's understandably funny to you. Russia's mobilization potential is 15 million people. Mobilization potential of Ukraine, 2 million. That's it. So why is the war going on for a year and a half and Russia hasn't invaded Ukraine if it has such mobilization potential? So many aircraft, so many weapons. Well, but I'm not a military man. I'm not ready to say anything. It's a matter of figuring it out. You have to sit down and figure it out. When can you give me an approximate date when that's going to happen? No, if Russia takes over anyway. Absolutely. How many years would that be? I don't know. Doesn't matter either. But if it's going to take over anyway, I see. No, well, let's get right to the exchanges. You think, let's. Do you think it's better for a Ukrainian, for example, an activist of the Batkivchivsna party to serve time somewhere in Rostov than for me to serve here? Why haven't we started with the exchange? This is also an interesting question. I don't think he's better off in a Russian prison than I am here. So I'm here to have the other side look at you and take you away because they don't want to take you away. It's sad. If you could see things realistically, we could have an easier conversation. I'm being realistic. I've been around a long time. I'm a practitioner. You really only look at things that you're comfortable looking at. You're looking at exactly the things that are convenient for you. And when I ask you a question, if it was necessary for Russia to attack Ukraine because of its borders, why didn't Russia attack Finland? No, I really don't know. It's none of my business. That's right. You know exactly what you want to know. That Russia attacked Ukraine because of what? Because Ukraine wanted to join NATO. Yes. Yes. Similar situation. And Ukraine is a zone of exclusive Russian economic and other interests. Well, Russia may think so. That's their business. So Russia, what's that got to do with us? Russia thinks and acts. And we act. Well, Russia advances, we defend. Well, the result? The result is that if Russia didn't attack, there would be no deaths. That's a result. And if Ukraine hadn't surrendered, there would have been no deaths either. Yes, but from your... Why do we have different positions? Because I can't even listen to this. It's nonsense. As people will listen to it, and even Russians will listen to it, and they will... Well, really, he's delusional. So a state should surrender for the interest of another state? But that's nonsense. Yes. Yes. There's no alternative. What do you mean there's no alternative? There's war. That's the alternative. Yes, war. And in the long run, a radioactive swamp. If they're crazy enough to start throwing nukes, they're going to do it. Well, but it won't help Ukraine. Ukraine will be the first to be hit. And unfortunately, everyone will die. And that's wrong. I'm against it. Die. If it comes to Topol RT, is that what you say about your family? No, my family's abroad with our friends. Where? Well, overseas. Can you tell me where? In Europe. Not in Russia? No. Why not in Russia? Well, I'll get to Russia. I'll get them out then. Why don't they go now? To where? Nowhere? Well, of course, Russia's good. It should... No, it's me first. Let's hope they'll exchange it sooner or later. I'll be in Donetsk. I have a good friend in Donetsk. How many years did you get? 10. 10 years? How long are you in jail? 1.5. 1.5. That's another 8.5 years, right? Well, Ukraine won't last that long. I'll draw the line, yes? In your opinion, did Russia have the moral right to fire missiles at Ukraine? Fire missiles? Did Russia have the moral right to fire missiles to Ukraine? What's that got to do with it? Russia had the moral right to take all that land for itself. That's right. Well, she tried to take it, and it did by hitting Ukraine with missiles. It's very unfortunate, but it's a war here. There's nothing you can do, unfortunately, yes. So Russia had the right to take all of Ukraine. Yes. And now it's just like this as a result of our plain and simple. Why? Because it's Russia, as it has been its territory for centuries, a zone of her interests, a zone of her economic, political, and security interests. So there's nothing to be done. That's the objective reality. Well, that's the way it is. And you're sure that's going to happen? Yes, Southwestern Federal District. If before the war there was still a chance for Ukraine to be preserved as Belarus. Yes. After the war, that chance disappeared. Unfortunately, it will be the Southwestern Federal District. Right. Yes, soon. Soon. Initially, they were screaming about Kiev in 3 days. Do you remember? I don't remember anything like that. You don't remember Kiev in 3 days? That there is nothing to fight with Ukraine, that the war will last 2 days? I don't remember. Well, you made a mistake, so what? It's no big deal. No big deal. You were a little wrong, right? No, they believed that the Ukrainian commanders, a sober-minded people, surrendered, right? But they decided to go all the way, and now they're all going to be killed. Can you imagine if Ukraine continues not to surrender? How? Well, everyone will be killed, and that's it. No, it's exactly the opposite. They came under Kiev. They were knocked out of Kiev. They were on the Chernihiv direction. They were knocked out of Chernihiv. On Sunny direction, they were knocked out. On Kharkov direction, they were knocked out. Especially in Kupensk, yes. And what? And in Liman and so on. What does it have to do with Kupensk? Shall I show you a map of the fighting, where it was and how it happened, what they were and where they knocked them out from? Well, it didn't work out. I mean, well, they've been talking for 2 days. It was meant to suggest that we had sane people and that they turned themselves in, yes, but they didn't. Let's raise the question. Take Kiev. They'll take it. Sooner or later, they'll take everything.
How can they fight us? This war, Volodymyr, will last 3 to about 4 days at the most.
An order from the Secretary of Defense of the Russian Federation. The order was to seize Ukraine very quickly, in 1 day. And in the evening of the same day, there was a concert in honor of Russia in Kiev on Khreshchatyk.
It's also rotten propaganda. No better than 1 + 1. Rotten propaganda. And I ask the question when. Not propaganda, but you, as a person who sits here and says, anyway. Absolutely. When? I don't know. Well, soon. Soon when? Soon is what? A year, 2 years, 10 years? Nah, when we run out of people. Where, in Russia? No, in Ukraine. Why can't they run out in Russia? They can in Russia. Why? Because. Why? Well, because. Why? Well, because, well, they just can't. That's all.